I teach in a class, in a digital class. Okay, my students, they have tablet instead of handbooks. Okay, but what we say usually is tablet and phone are great for to read and to research, but not to create, not to do something, because of. But I'm an old man. Maybe you find a way. Okay. So let's see. Let's see. Okay. Okay. First dimension. Okay. And how do we do that? The method is we follow these 3 steps in an applicative way. I'm gonna show you the flow of my work. Okay, not because I'm a self-oriented. I'm a self-centered. Okay, I'm a self-centered man. No, but because I want to be authentic. I want to be sincere. Okay, most of the time when I go to a session, formative session, I see something academical. Okay, something not abstract, something not real, not. And we need something real. Okay, running the risk to make errors. But that's what I want to do. Okay, so 3 exercises and 3 dimensions. Designing a lesson. How do I design my lesson today after 2 years of AI impact? Okay. Did I change the way I teach, the way I design? Yes, in a way. Okay, in which way? So first of all, I have to make clear what is my approach to teaching. The one I elaborated in my, let's say, career, okay, year of teaching, because I'm an old man, so I'm an experienced one. So what is the pedagogical and methodological approach I use in my lesson planning? To be clear, now I split my lesson into moments, okay? A frontal one, so I'm going to show you how do I use to create material for my frontal lessons, okay? And an active teaching, sorry, and an active phase, okay? I call it actio, it's the Latin word. So I teach philosophy and history in secondary school. So my approach in philosophy is a problem-based approach. And I say to my students, think, try to imagine to be a philosopher, and the definition of philosopher is a solution finder. Be a solution finders. Okay, to what? To big philosophical big questions. I'm going to show you how. Okay, this is not an abstract definition, but I'm going to show you how. And the solution the philosopher give to the problem posed, I call them theses. Okay, I want my students to understand the thought of the philosopher as many theses, many perspectives to reply to the same big questions. Okay, and I divide my school year in 4 main terms. It means 4 main questions, 4 main problems, and many theses. Okay, is that clear? Oh, great. Okay, give me feedback, please. Okay, I'm going to show you. So this is just an introduction. And in history, my approach is inquiry-based, because I want them to make an inquiry, not to listen to ready-made facts. Okay, as I used to say to my students, let's try not to see history with the wisdom of the hindsight. Okay, looking back, it's too easy. I want them to go back to time, to think, to be historians as detectives, so the case is not solved, they have to solve it, and to travel in time. It means go back, adopt the perspective of that time, and turn your head to the future, okay, which is now the future is past, okay, but going back in time, going the future, you don't know what's going on, what the future will be like, okay, and this completely changed the perspective, okay. If you are in 1933 in Germany, you don't know anything about Shoah, you don't know anything about the Second World War, but is it predictable where there's signals and so on? So, okay. So for the active part of my teaching, this is my approach. For the frontal one, just listen, guys, listen and take notes. Okay, simple. Okay. Great. So I'm going to focus on the active part of my lesson. Okay. So how do I adopt AI according to this approach? Because if you don't bear in mind my approach, you don't understand the usage of AI. I do. Okay. So please bear in mind. Great. So example, I'm gonna give you the 3 examples. In philosophy, in my class 2, I teach now in a 4-year high school, liceo, which is not 5 years. Ci sono italiani? Are there Italian teachers? Okay, you know the process. So the 2 main years, and then the indirizzo, come si dice? Anyway, I teach philosophy in the first class, which is not usual in Italy. Okay, and I teach history in a whole process, not repeating the cycle of histories. Okay, because I have the privilege to teach them for 4 years. Okay, from when they are 14 years old till the maturità, which is the main final examination. So I divide as I said, my school year in 4 terms, 4 questions, 4 inquiries, and so on. So one of these, in philosophy, one of these themes and problems, big 4 problems, is about, in class 2, is about the modern political philosophy, and the problem is the problem of power. What is power? How do we manage power in a vast, in a society, in a community? Problem. And in class 3, I teach right now psychoanalysis and existentialism, and the problem is who am I? Okay, are we sick, all of us? And what is the meaning of life existentially? Okay, so I pose these big problems, which are philosophical problems, and I ask them to find a way to. In history, I've already, right now, we worked out the fascism and Nazism. So the main problem was, why that consensus, that immense consensus they got. So great. So this is the approach. This is about the approach. So how do I design my lesson? Don't forget, how do I design my lesson? First, I sit down like you and I study and I make research, because we are designers. So I have to understand where to go, what to, and with the AI, what do I do now? Before I go to the library, I go to my handbook and so on. Nowadays, I make the most of Gemini, because Google is much more easy to use for teachers. We've got the classroom and so on in high schools and so on. So most of my time I ask Gemini to make deep research to get the contents. Okay, but the way I do that is very important. Instead of doing the traditional research, I pose the question I want to pose to my students. Okay, so it's a slight shift, but follow me. It's very, very important. I'm going to show you how. So instead of asking, okay, give me, let's summarize the thought of Freud. Okay, I know the thought of Freud. It is in the handbook. Okay, maybe I need something different because, as I said, I want my student to be challenged by big questions, and I have to have clear the questions in my mind. So I ask Gemini my questions. For example, I wanted to understand better the connection between the Freudian thought and the way Recalcati, which is a psychoanalysis way, feminist in Italy, okay, and I appreciate him. The understanding of Recalcati about the concept of desire in Freud, okay, and there is no handbook with these replies. There is no possibility to get in any handbook. So, but in Gemini, I do find a reply. I do find a way to find the contents I need and to find solution I want. Okay. So first of all, so first dimension, first step is to study in a new way. Okay. To going deeper. Following my main questions, the questions I want to pose to my students. Second, I need to store knowledge. How do I store knowledge? Handbooks are stored knowledge available, don't they? But I do like a handbook, okay? But I want my handbook, my storage, because I want to teach in a specific way. I don't want to follow the way the handbook forced me to teach. Am I clear? So I need to create my handbook, okay? How do I do that? Up to 2 years ago was impossible, but now it is possible. And like you, I use Notebook LM. How do I use Notebook LM? Let's go to modern politics and existentialism. I'm going to give you an idea. Okay. Very, very simple. This is how many of you using Google Notebook LM? Okay. This is not a technical workshop about the use of specific tools, but okay. In a few minutes, you're gonna do the exercise. So in case you need help, we help each other. So this is my ongoing handbook and living handbook. Why living handbook? Because I store the knowledge I need. Filosofia politica, modern philosophical politics, psychoanalysis, and so on. As you see, there are many files like living handbooks. Why living? Because if I go to psychoanalysis, I have many sources. On the left-hand side, you add sources. Okay, which sources? The sources I want, the sources I consider good for me, my own sources, or, and this is a miracle to me, English sources. Pakistan sources, I don't know, whatever, okay? If I go to my Cold War, for instance, So I'm coming, yeah? Too much, okay. Bipolarism, okay. As you see, I have many English sources. The Cold War Handbook of Pearson, which I got from, this is the original handbook of Pearson about Cold War, and I got it from the International Baccalaureate curriculum, okay? These resources are free. But, and English original sources, okay? And I can make the most of them nowadays, thanks to the AI. So I have many sources. I select some of them according to my question, okay? And I pose the question, okay? For instance, okay, Cold War to big handbook, okay? And I can ask who won the Cold War? Simple, but winning the Cold War? Is it so simple? Okay. And I have the reply according to those authors, which are Pearson and Cambridge authors. Okay. And the books are very good books. I like the way Cambridge approach history because it's a problematic approach. It's similar to mine. Okay. And the way the Italian handbooks approach history, I don't like it very much because it's full of answers instead of problems, as history was a simple linear process, which is not. Yes, with the wisdom of the answer, hindsight, yes, but if you go back in time to do act as a detective and the time traveler is different. No. The sources are in English. See the content. Wait. See the content. This is the original handbook, eh? Wait. See. Yes, if you want me to translate it in Arabic, we can do it. Yes, that was part of the original setting. Here you can configure your Cold War. Scrivi evitando lettere maiuscole in Italian, okay? But okay, nowadays there is even no need because he understands it better than your husband or wife. Sorry, okay? That's unbelievable. Okay, so I have some replies to my questions. Where are the questions? Okay, who won the Cold War? La fine della guerra come vittoria degli Stati Uniti. Ok. Al contrario, gives me more versions. Okay, problematic, and I can keep on asking. Why do I need this? Because remember, I have to create my own handbook. I'm going to show you how. Okay, so I'm digging into the material to get what I want to create my dispenser in English. Dispenser, handouts, okay, for my students. Okay, so on the left-hand side, the sources. In the middle, the discussion, living discussion, and on the right, my findings and my products of my interrogations of the use of AI. So I have to be honest. I love this instrument so much because differently from Gemini, Gemini is like an ocean. It's open. It is threatening. It is even too open. Okay, and in Google Notebook, which is working leveraging the Gemini, of course, as a intelligent machine, but it's a framed field, okay? And the frame is mine, and the sources are mine, okay? I do need these perimeter. You understand? Great. Okay. So at the moment, this is mine. Okay. But we are as a group of colleagues. Okay. For the next year, we are thinking to adopt Google Notebook for our students as the handbook, living and open handbook. This way, condividi, share with my students. Yeah, the sources are blocked, are mine, okay? And some of the findings and the products, but the chat space is free, is their own, so they can chat it. They can use the handbook, okay? Which is quite astonishing for me. We're going to use for the exercise now. These are preset. We're going to use them, okay? Be patient. In a moment, okay? So I want you to understand the process, which is much more important than the singular instrument. The process is, I have to train myself, I have to go deeper in the contents and to elaborate the contents according to my approach and according to what I want to get for my students, okay? Because as a teacher, I'm a designer. I'm not just a handbook and then I summarize the handbook in a transmissive lesson, which is exactly what we do in Italy at the moment. We are instruments of the handbooks of the editors, I don't know, but this is what sincerely happens. Okay. Second, I need to store, I need to get my contents in a place easy to reach, easy to manipulate. Okay. In history. And the third, what if I want to be trained? What if I want to come to, for instance, today to Alberto Garniga and have a aggiornamento from training session, Now we can do that. How? Using Gemini as a learning coach to train myself. So, every day, whenever I want. So if you go to Gemini, okay, Gemini, and on the left-hand side, you've got the gems. Or at the moment, if you open a new chat, what is it? If you open and you go to instruments, you go here, apprendimento learning guide, okay? What is it, learning coach? You've got it here, or as an intro, or in the gems. We're going to use them later on. Coach, learning coach, okay? It is the free version, but after 2 years of abuse of Gemini, I have to be grateful, okay? And I paid £7 euro per month. It's the version plus, okay? So invest 7. I'm not a Google agent, so okay. So why is this important? Is this important for me, to me as a teacher, and to my students, especially the students very smart? Okay. I have 2 sons. Okay. One of them is at the moment a university student. Okay. And I train him, forcing him to use coach per l'apprendimento, the learning coach, for the preparation of the examination. And he got an advantage, a clear advantage, because it doesn't give you easy answers, but it guides you in a process of learning. And the approach and the prompt they put into the instruments is well designed, is designed by pedagogists, by educators. Very good, very, very, very good. So this is an unmissable instrument for the university students, and for my students, the smartest, which are very rare, but they are. Okay, so go back to the process, and then again in history, and another storage for the contents. Okay, so first step done. Okay, second step, I have to transform the contents we already elaborated, which are elaborated contents, not handbook already made contents, okay, in a teaching material, in a plan for my lesson. How do I plan my lesson? In philosophy, I use Google Classroom, like you. In history, Google Classroom. But the way I shape my Google Classroom, let me show you, because it's important to me. Let me go to, okay, give you an example. Okay, in philosophy, for instance, this is the way okay. See, I have the topic, psychoanalysis. As I say, 4 topics, okay? The first one was about nature, history, and society, Darwin, Hegel, and Marx. And the big question was, is there a law in nature, in a mechanism in nature, in history, and in society, an evolutionary mechanism? That was the main. And existence and the subject. And at the moment, I'm digging into psychoanalysis, okay? So see the 4 main questions and topics. And I divide my psychoanalysis topic into weeks, okay? First one is an active introduction. I want them to play a role, and later on, yeah, okay? Then we go to Freud. Freud as the Freud topic is thought as a thesis, as I said before. So how do Freud reply to the big question, who am I? Who are you? Are we sick? Why do we suffer? Okay, mentally suffer. Okay, and in no. Okay. Okay. As I see the way I organize my lesson. There is an introduction. Okay. Piece of movie. Okay. And to pose the question, to make the question clear, or to intrigue them. The lesson, the frontal lesson with slides, and the activity part of the lesson. Okay, this is made of psychological tests, and then they have to go deeper in a movie, in a psychological movie. Okay, so as I said, I divide my lesson in 3 moments: a fast introduction to get the attention, a frontal teaching, and an active teaching. Okay, we've got 2 combined hours in our school. I want to have 2 combined hours because otherwise time is too short. Okay. No start. E quindi? Però. Ah, devi fare tutto l'anno. Devo fare più anni.
Sì, una volta che scambia
Ok. Beh, aiutami dai, che se no mi perdo. So in the in history, how do I organize my see Cold War, unity, totalitarianism, and no, and next one Italian Republic, okay? Totalitarianism, first step, case analysis, and then in fascism, we dig into fascism with a provocation. How did we get Mussolini? Where did he come from? From nothing, and he got such a powerful, such a power. How was it possible? And the lesson, and then the activity. Okay, so yes, I'm gonna show you. Okay. Okay. All right. So this is the process. Okay. I plan my lesson in these 3 moments inside a unity. Okay. 4 unity and each lesson in 3 main moments. Okay. Exercise first, and then I'm going to show you how I store my personal handbook. So quick exercise for those who who don't use a notebook. It is the time. Okay, time has come, the apocalypse. So as you like, okay, use at least one of these tools. I'm gonna give you 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and then we share some practice. Like, I'm gonna choose 3 of you, and you don't know who. So if you want to go deeper in researching, please try Gemini in try Gemini. Try Gemini in looking for info, looking for contents. How? Asking questions not traditional about the topic, or using the instruments research and going to apprendimento with learning coach, or deep research. Deep research gives you a very long research about the topic. Okay, even too much. But when you want to go very deep, use deep research. You'll be surprised. But please ask tricky questions, not the old one, not the ones you can find in Google, in easy on the web. Not tell me what was the unconscious in Freud, which is too easy. But for instance, give me 3 examples for a teenager to understand better what the unconscious is. This is a good question. Okay, and then if you want to practice Google Notebook, please open your account in Google Notebook, and please here create you create your new folder of contents. How do you create it? I open it. On the left hand side, you can add sources. You can add sources. Which kind of sources? Whatever, website, video, uploading your own files from your drive, wherever, okay, from the web and so on. And once you have stored here on the left-hand side your knowledge, let's say knowledge, okay, you can elaborate it, and then later on we work on it, okay? So first 2 windows, and then we work on this later on, okay? Be patient. Or if you want to plan your lesson in a new way, rethink your classroom practice, okay? 10 minutes, and then you give me some feedback, okay? Can you do that for me? Thank you. Even using your cell phone? I don't know how. Okay. Okay, let's full stop, okay? This is just the first step, okay? So give me some findings, okay, in using these 3 or 2 or 1 instruments, okay? Thinking of developing and enhancing your work, your job. One by one, not oh.
Yeah. It was quite interesting.
You using what? What did you use?
The Gemini, just to have a deep
For getting knowledge. Get knowledge.
knowledge. And we have a science argument because we are both biologists. And it was regarding the food pyramid. So we asked how to explain the food pyramid to 7th grades. And it was quite interesting because obviously we know about it, but it was given us an example how to explain it, comparing to superpowers. And it was a very interesting comparison or way to explain that could reach the students of this grade.
Great.
So it was very interesting.
Good. So tuning our frontal explanations. Okay, good. So give me how to say it for a child, how to explain it through metaphors, how to give me a story to understand better, or give me a three different levels explanation: simple, average, advanced. Okay, good, very good. Example.
I think that we can also use Gemini research on past approaches. So something from my class, the physics, and to be at the direction of time, which was well, I guess. And what was right now really amazing for me was first it summarized very nice with resources, but now it also suggested the classroom activities like games. And that students, for example, sit together, all sit orderly. It's the start, right? There's order, and then we wait through the class, have some activity else, learn something, giving the form part, then we start moving around. That's creating a bit more unorder.
What was your prompt? What was
My
your
prompt was explain entropy and the direction of time for 50-year opinion.
Okay. And the way he thinks, I mean, the machine is, it recognizes that you are a teacher.
Yes.
And maybe you need this, okay?
Exactly.
And what is in the automatic brain, in the artificial brain, is a prompt, an original prompt, because made of the average way of teaching in the English way. The English way is always active. It is, yes, I know you have to teach it, but you have to do it through an active session, okay? And it gives you that's why. Okay? But we're gonna dig into the activities later on, okay? So because at the moment we are just studying as a teacher designers and storing our contents, and later on from this knowledge we have to create our teaching materials and instruments for the frontal and for the active teaching. Okay, so be patient. Good. Another example. What kind of knowledge did you store? What kind of sources did you upload? Gambling? But are you a teacher of maths? Ah, okay, statistics and so how? Okay. Good. Very good.
I am not, how the I say next to the wide page. Yeah.
Okay.
Based on
Okay. Yes, on the right-hand side, you've got many of them, but later on we're going to use them. Infographic gives you a visual summary, okay? Good, which is relevant for our students, but sometimes it's confusing, okay? Because infographics are not easy to, but maybe for your slides, okay? Maybe for your slides. Okay. Great. But for the sake of this moment, the designing moment of your lesson, the report is the main one. Why? Because if you've got many sources, you can select several or all of them or some of them, and then get a report, which is also a study guide, okay? How to understand, how to study those contents. Okay, it allows you to go through the main points. Okay, it is a guided summary, a smart summary to study. Okay, now don't forget we are in the first moment of our work, which is studying the contents, to explain them, to make them active, to let our students learn. Okay, the last one. Learning coach, great. So we use learning coach, okay?
how is it possible that directly impacted actually create such important differences? And the learning coach, it's like a conversation with you guys provided by one certain and I have agent station. And I found very interesting that the research generated a report with a summary of topics that a lot of things like the most of practice and this again, don't forget that there are a lot of topics and the sources. So it's a big report. And I was wondering, I want to support this to
you can import in Google in here, import adding a source, okay, from Drive. You export it. Yes, easy. And of course you can. Remember, when we want to have a more broad approach and more creative, more open, we go to Gemini, but do not use Gemini as a Wikipedia. It is not his job, okay? This is it's like surfing on the and looking for. Use Google Notebook LM to find as a Wikipedia personally organized by you. Okay, so to store your knowledge and the sources you consider the main ones, the fundamental ones, and then go deeper. Okay, so from Google Notebook, do not expect creative answers. But the answers you get from notebook are, well, see the notes here, okay? You know exactly where this part of the text, secondo gli okay, sorry. If I Congo, Wikipedia, facciamo questo, let's see, Congo, bipolar war, Vietnam, okay, Vietnam and bipolar, okay? I'm gonna ask, tell me whether USA won Vietnam War. I'm keen on or not. Okay. This is a tricky question. Okay. Did they win? Did they win the war? Okay. Scanning the sources, only these ones. Okay. If I ask, tell me who won the Oscar in 2000, one week ago, there is no way to find the answer here. But in Gemini, of course, you get it. Okay. Okay, I got the answer. Okay, and the notes show me where in the text I get because these are some kind of summaries. Okay, so very good for universitarian students and for us also as researchers. Okay, and gives you also more hints and so on. Okay, you got the first dimension, how to get contents nowadays, leveraging AI. Okay, there is an infinite possibilities to interrogate, to discuss, to have thousands of our best colleagues always available. Always. If you save the note, it's going to store it here. So here are, if I save it, generate notes. Okay, and you can also, of course, you can wait. You can change the title. Oh, il tramonto del containment americano. Okay, and I have the result and so on. This is part of my, let's say, findings, study material. This is study material that I created. Okay. Okay. Yes, you've got the original contents you have chosen. Okay, you can elaborate whatever, and once you got something that you want to save it to note, and automatically comes here. Okay, and comes here as a note. But if you want to elaborate more as a using preset, you've got 9 presets. We're going to use 3 of them. Okay, but wait. Okay, good. Now the main part. So you've got the designing part. Okay, understanding, digging into contents. But how do I customize? How do I prepare my teaching material? And I'm gonna ask you to do the same. Okay, remember the 2 dimensions of our teaching, frontal and active. For the frontal, what do we need? How do we teach today? How do you teach in your class? What do you use for teaching frontally? Interactive whiteboard, this one, okay, interaction, but most of the time the slides, it's a pity, but okay, most of the time. So we need slides in philosophy and in history. How do I get slides? How do I get transmissive material very well designed? Okay. To me, I use 2 resources. The first one is I need to create my own handbook. You remember? How do I create that? Using Gemini, Deep Research, Learning Coach, and storing the knowledge in notebook and elaborating that knowledge. And after doing that, I get these Politica Moderna, okay? I store the knowledge I have created in my own handbook, okay? I paid for this platform, okay, which is an e-learning platform at the moment, but don't get. You can use free Google site, okay, also. But I like the clarity, the layout, okay, it's clear, simple, okay. But see how I organize, okay, my course. Oh, sorry. Okay. Remember, this is the third unit. I'm going to teach this next week in my second class. Okay. It's about philosophy. It's about modern politics. The philosophers of the modern age, it means 17th century till 18th century, 600, 700, insomma, ok, 5, 700, ok? Hobbes, Locke, and Rousseau, okay? The founders of our political ideologies, okay? The question is, what is the power? What is power? How should it be managed? Big question. I like this question, okay? I pose this question to the student, okay? And I organized the contents in 3 main parts. An introductory part, which is focused on the questions, okay, and some essential concepts, and the thesis. As I mentioned before, the thesis. I want them to understand Hobbes as a answer to the big question, okay? And how do I create these contents? So first one was about concepts, power and politics, contractualism, constitution, and okay, 3 main concepts. I want them to understand the main concept of modern politics. Okay, how do I create these texts? You know that now. Okay, I elaborated it through researching with Gemini and the Google Notebook and refining it, tuning it. Okay. It takes me time, of course, but now I'm proud and I can leverage it to for my lesson, for the benefit of my lesson, for the sake of my lesson. Okay. So I like it. Yes, you can pay it once. Mini course generator. Very simple to build e-learning courses, okay? And I need it because I want to replace the handbooks. We are free of editors, okay? Okay? I prepare this material in summertime. It takes me time, but I like it because I'm studying at the same time. I'm preparing myself. I'm going deeper, okay? See Hobbes. Hobbes was about centralizing power. No? The thesis of Hobbes is, okay, power must be centralized, okay? You sacrifice freedom to get control and security. Big deal, big deal. And Hobbes, vice versa, okay? I don't want, I want to weaken the power because the power is tricky, power is dangerous, okay? So these are the 2 opposite poles. Okay, and how do I organize the contents? You know it now. Power must be centralized. C, key questions. Okay, and then not here really, but in let's say in anthropologia esistenziale. Okay, in philosophy, this is about existentialism. Wait. Okay. 4 main theses, okay, on the dilemma of what is the meaning of my existence, who am I in an existential way. So the thesis of Nietzsche, man must be surpassed, overcome. That was his thesis, And if I go here, you see, I prepare the contents of my e-learning platform according to questions. These are the questions. In what sense is human existence tragically divided? In what is Nietzsche's critique of Christianity is based on? What is the basis of? And these are also the questions my students know I'm going to ask for the final test. I'm not inventing anything, but I'm picking some of them. So it's harmonic process, coherent, and there is no way to find in an Italian handbook titles as questions, because all of these titles are invitations to inquiry from my students. I want them to ask themselves, and these are simples, but what is the Superman? So composition, just tell me.
One thing I'm very impressed with what you have done as a teacher. For me, this is all really to expect. Because how long will they still need us? To be that generate with some clicks.
Not so easy, because it took me very long time.
But again, on the development part, pace, it is moving forward. So the question is then, what will be our jobs? What will our jobs be like?
We are much more important now than before, in my opinion, because before I enter the class, I open the handbook, student, and you are a smart teacher, and you, guys, do this, do that, but for the frontal part, now you can elaborate much more deeply the material and to shape your own lesson plan. This is for the frontal part. And for the active one, we are going to dig into it now, even more, much more.
You showed us the technical theories, and then it's generated by AI into operations. But if you finally realize, there is something, because AI is not super.
Yes, but don't. Yes.
Out to that.
Yes, I solved that problem studying, because I am the expert. I'm supposed to be the expert. So first of all, I am the source, and secondly, I go through the deep research, which is much more reliable than an open. And I store the knowledge. Don't forget, in Google Notebook, I choose the sources. Those are handbook. I studied it. In my university, and nowadays I check. The Cambridge and the Pearson, and so reliable sources. For sure, more than me. Who am I? Who am I? I have to check. I have to elaborate. I have to set all my material for the benefit of my students. Remember, I said I am a designer for my students. I want to conceive myself as a designer. And at the moment or before, were we designers for the learning of our students?
The Austrian approaches, yes.
Yeah.
In Austria, we have always.
Yes. I praise you. We praise you. So this is the first step. Getting contents in a well organized way, according to my needs, according to my approach. Understood? So now you see what I said before. I divide the year into, I organize it through questions. You see how, but this is still passive material. This is still a frontal material, okay? Last step for the frontal material, creating slides. Nowadays, it is much easier, okay? How? Before I had to create my slides, which was really time consuming and so much, but now miracle. So you see, there are many slides on the web, okay? If I want to talk about World War I, slides World War I, okay, that's what I did it before. But at the moment, now, thanks to the AI, starting from my own, material, this one, okay? This material I built, I can create slides exactly shaped on these steps, which is a miracle because it's my design. Do you understand? And see what I asked in Google Notebook in political philosophy, modern political philosophy. See, I just upload my e-learning platform. Okay, so only if you go here, this is just the plain text of my e-learning, okay? Plain text. And I sorry about that. And I asked, where is it? Ah, okay, I'm getting lost. Yes, I asked the smart machine, my slaves, my ideal colleagues, my collective intelligence, okay, to give me a presentation. The preset I mentioned before, okay? And you can also, add some features, okay? You can ask, write it in English, write it in the language, and give me 10 slides, give me 5 slides. Respect the points the process and the main content, respect the title, according to the title of my contents, okay? So each title of the slide has to be the same of the, okay? So use the questions, okay? And see what I got, okay? See what I got here, and then you can revise, you can divide, you can share it, you can download it, okay? You can, I'm gonna show you, slides, okay? These are the slides, okay? At the moment, they are PDF, but I know for sure in a few time, they're gonna, they'll be much more elaboratable, I don't know, okay? Yes, but remember, the layout is independently decided by the machine according to my content and some guidelines I gave him, okay? See, you recognize it very easily, okay? Potestas, autoritas. Remember the text I've shown you before, see? And see the graphics are stunning. And the 3 levels of influence, okay? Hegemony, authority, I don't know, violence, I don't know, okay? And just naturalism, contractualism, and then we go to Machiavelli. So, see, Machiavelli, la volpe. This is great. This is great because it's strictly Machiavelli. And this is Hobbes. I don't like this very much, but the main message is to my students, okay, let's concentrate power, okay? Maybe if I was the author of the slide, I mean, the visual part of the slides, I did choose another infographics, but this is good.
Change
Not at the moment, because this is a PDF, okay? But for sure, in a few months, you can do that. Yes, you can also do that. Yes. Thank you. if you want to at the moment, but for sure, in a few months, we can upload it on Google Presentation and then elaborate it autonomously. A PowerPoint, but it is standing still as a PDF. You cannot select part of it for the moment because your ideal husband is developing, is improving, okay? So please do the same to understand how to make the most of Google Notebook in a frontal teaching, starting from your own deep research elaboration, learning course elaboration, and so on. Just to have an idea about the power of these instruments at the moment. Can I create something like this in using Gemini? For sure. But don't forget, I did it. Okay? Can I do it? Yes, for sure. Using these are, fammi vedere, sono queste. Okay, these are created by Gemini. Okay, remember, Google Notebook, my sources, my approach, my decisions. Gemini, some guidelines. I say my prompt was, give me 10 slides about Sigmund Freud. The main concepts are focused on these 3 concepts. I gave the guidelines. But for all the rest, for all the contents, he worked autonomously, okay? But the slides are quite good. Quite good. Very simple layout. Very simple. But good, okay? I gave you the two options, okay? If you want much more elaborated, starting from your own resources, go into Notebook, okay? And then presentation, selecting the ones you want, okay? The other one, you go to Gemini, okay? Instruments, Canvas, which are products, okay? You can ask, transform this text into an interactive exercise, Canvas. Give me slides, Canvas, okay? If you want artifacts, something like that, okay? So you can use both, okay? You see, much easier in simple in Gemini, but and open, not really controlled, and much more elaborated and strictly on your own material, Google Notebook. Okay? That is why now I use only Google Notebook slides, and you can tune it, simple, full text, less text, and so on. Can you do that for me? So choose how to create nowadays, thanks to AI, smart slides. So you use the notebook you created previously. It's just an exercise to understand the process, and then you can apply it to your own job. Now, last step, and then we go to the break time. Okay. Okay. Remember. Okay. Did you have a interest? Did you get interest in? I don't know. No, I mean, insightful slides. Good material. Still waiting. Yes. Be patient. So. Let it work, and we go on. Last step, okay? So a little bit further. How do I transform transmissive slide into interactive slide? Yes, I can organize them in a frame. Okay, I can ask Notebook to create a presentation following a process. Okay, but there are instruments designed exactly for that. Okay, a very simple, and for the sake of middle school, primary school is very, very, very good. But also for me. So for me, yes, so remember, we are in the frontal teaching dimension of our work. After studying, preparing frontal teaching material, slides and e-learning platform and slides. How do I make them much interactive? I use this instrument, which is Curipod. Very simple, very simple. And I'm going to show you the result, okay? And later on you use it now, okay, as an exercise. Always, again, about the political modern philosophy, okay? If I ask Curipod to create slides, interactive slides, mi faccio farlo, non mi ricordo più, ok, vabbè, ok, ok, these are in Italian, sorry, okay, but I'm going to explain. Curipod has got automatic prompts that transform passive material into some typically English steps in teaching, okay? Very simple, okay? I asked Curipod to give me slides about Hobbes, Locke, and Rousseau, okay? To learn the modern political ideologies, okay? So this is the result. The result is, first of all, the beginning is an exercise, an immersive scenario, okay? During the trip on a boat, there was a kind of wreckage or something got wrong, and you have to decide what to do to survive, okay? Great entrance for our students to open their mind instead of entering the class and then, okay, today we're gonna learn political modern ideology. Okay. Guys, something got wrong, okay? And you have to decide a total leader, or an elected leader, or you have to decide through an assembly or anarchy. What do you decide? Okay, this is an entry exercise according to a specific English active approach, transforming my transmissive material into something new. Okay, so we are approaching the active teaching part of this workshop. So you see, the first slide is good. I like it very much because it makes them, my students, reflect. It makes them engage, and then the explanation, what I want after the first exercise, 5 minutes. Okay, the explanation, what I want you to understand, and some concepts, frontal concepts. What was the natural stage, and then the 3 theses, very squeezed, very summarized. Okay, and then a little activity. Compare the 3 options, and then, okay, again, concepts and a little activity, and then much autonomous activity using Venn diagram. Okay, you've got the thesis of Hobbes, you've got the thesis of Locke. This is the, let's say, absolutism and liberalism. Okay, 2 main options. Okay, centralizing, dividing the power. Okay, similarities and differences. Okay, good, and they do it. 10 minutes, guys. 10 minutes, and then we share. Okay, good. And then after that, reading some original texts. Okay, and then big question for my students: what is political consensus? When is power legitimate? When do we respect power? When do we not? Okay. And then an exercise, find the mistake. Good. Activation. I didn't do anything, okay? It is my smart colleagues. Okay, explain So explain to my students, explain the differences between, okay, discuss, a final discussion, and then the diary, so some more text, okay? So please use school report to understand the way it works, okay? Just to understand this, how do I transform frontal slides into interactive slides? Do it for yourself and you discover it, okay? Now, for this, a Q report is really, really simple, okay? So you open Q report. How do I, where is it? Okay, open Q report, qrepod.com, use, okay, book a demo, login, sign up, it's free, okay? Trust the process. And then if you use the basic resources, it's free. If you want to go further and further, as usually my female colleagues want to do, okay, they want more, but settle down, please. You have to pay. But there are so many, escape rooms, there are so many instruments for middle school, primary school, perfect. But even for high school, okay? How do I create it? Did I create my slides? Mini lessons, okay? Mini lessons. But there are also other instruments. Mini lessons, I clip and then create, following the topic. And I simply wrote Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, nothing else. Now the main concept of nothing else, because I wanted to show you in a very, very simple way. Do it for yourself. Okay, maybe you can add also some material if you want, your own material, elaborated by notebook and so on. But I didn't do that because I wanted to be very flat, very simple. Okay, try Kulipa, please. And then we make the break. We have a break time. So good. As a reminder, okay, we are in the teaching material dimension, teaching materials preparing dimension. So it is the second fundamental dimension of our work as a teachers, as a designer, educational designers. Okay, prompt educational designer, prompt because we have to educate the machine as well to be our slave, okay? And teaching material, we are preparing teaching material in the two dimensions, the frontal one, slides, e-learning platform, handbook, digital handbook, and so on. Interactive slides, and then now we are entering the most interesting part, which is preparing active material. How do I activate my lessons? Okay. To activate the lesson, you need an approach. Okay. What does activating mean? And this is philosophy. This is pedagogy. Okay. I don't have time. Read our book. Okay. No, so I'm sorry. I'm joking. Okay. No, there is a big part of it is spent on reflecting what does activating mean? How do I activate? Okay. And giving you three main methodologies, methodological families: the inquiry-based family, the task-based family, and the project-based family. Okay, but for the moment, for the sake of this workshop, we see some inquiry and task-based methods. Okay. Okay, so activating. How do I activate the Freud, existentialism, psychoanalysis, or modern political philosophy, or Nazism and fascism? Okay, so from study to doing something in the class, I have to prepare my material to engage my students. Okay, not only transmitting, but engaging. Okay. So I'm gonna give you 3 examples, and then you prepare your own one. Okay. First of all, I use Gemini, of course. Okay. I can use Gemini in a free way. Asking Gemini to help me in shifting from transmissive to active. I have to explain who I am, explain to contextualize who my students are. I have to make clear what are my needs and so on. But what if I have clear also my approach? What if I know what I want to get from Gemini? For instance, I have to teach fascism. What can I do with my students to activate them and make my lessons be more active, more inquiry-based, more task-based? And I'm going to explain what task-based is. For instance, adding some explanation of what task-based learning is, okay, but he knows. Or help me in doing this. First of all, study what task-based learning is, okay? Okay, are you ready to help me? Yes. Are you prepared? Are you the best teacher in task-based learning? Yes. Okay. And then, okay, these are 2 examples. And yes, okay. So I'm gonna show you what I asked Gemini to help me in engaging my students in history. Okay. For the unity about totalitarianism, fascism, and Nazism. We already done the Stalinism. Okay. And what can I do with my students? Can I engage them in a role playing? Role playing is a methodology. Okay. Nice that. And that is, no, okay. Yes. This is in history the answer. I mean, the refined answer. Okay. The refined answer. C. It is in Italian, but forgive me. I'm going to explain. It is a case analysis. I asked him, give me a case to analyze, a fantasized case to analyze, and then let my students play a role. Because I want them, remember, my approach is don't think about history as a linear process, but go into this history, experiment yourself, the complexity of history, okay? So the case was the Arcadia Pact, okay? There is a new state, a new city to create, and you have to decide rules, the constitution, okay? And there is a dilemmatic situation and 2 approach. One, much more focused on security. The other one, much more focused on liberty. You recognize Hobbes and law, okay? The 2 approaches, okay? And then the dilemma, okay? What do we fear? How can we face the chaos, the political chaos, okay? This is the scenario, okay? And then we have 2 roles, Thomas and John. Thomas is much more lean, prone to the security, and the other one to liberty, okay? And gives you the profile, the objectives, the character, and the typical thoughts, okay? So this is it's a kind of actually. Okay, yes, it's kind of, okay? And I, with my sister, I cut and I give them two of my students, okay? So please study your part, your role, okay, for 2 minutes. And then the citizens. So citizens, I choose 3 of my students, and then there are phases of the role playing. It guides me through phases, okay? So gives me a very a real applicative help. Phase 1, phase 2, the debate, phase 3, okay?
and then the reflection, and then the role play, another role playing. Okay, so this is good. And if I want something deeper, let's ask Gemini, please, okay, go deeper into phase 1 and give me some hints to deliver to my students. And my ideal slave, is ready to do that for me. Okay, this is in history, role playing, but I can do it also in philosophy, and I did it. This one I'm gonna do it next week, and this one I did it in at the beginning of the year, explaining existentialism. Okay, the question was, who am I? Who are we? Okay, why are we so complex? Why are we so? And the scenario was the empty room and teenage crisis, existential crisis of a boy. Okay, this is the scenario, problematic situation. I don't know what I want. Okay, it's a teenager, and they can read a teenager in a problematic situation. They can mirror themselves. Okay, they have to do something, take notes and first reflection, and then the scenario made of 1, 2, 3 characters, okay, in crisis. Okay, and then we pose some questions, okay, to analyze the existential crisis of these 3 boys, which are acted by 3 students. Okay, I choose 3 students, stay in that corner and reply. Be that character and reply, okay, to the questions of your classmates. But in that fiction, the classmates are normal people asking someone in crisis, in the existential crisis. Okay, and then what I choose 4 of them. 4 of them. One has to be one has to be Kierkegaard. One has to be Schopenhauer. One has to be Nietzsche. Best wishes. One has to be, okay, three of them. Sorry, Heidegger is not there. Okay. Who am I? What do I think about the meaning of life? How do I see the crisis of that boy? And what kind of advices should I give? Okay. They have to act as a philosopher. Because remember my approach, philosopher as a problem solver. Okay, so I want them to experiment first, and what does it mean to be a philosopher in that way? Okay, and this is kind of philosophical role play. Do you understand? Great. So I want you to do the same. Okay, 2, start from a passive content. Okay, can be mathematics, I don't know, historical, give me some content, sustainability, okay, and transform this passive material into an active one, choosing the role-playing methodology, which is a task-based learning how shall I put it? Method, technique, okay? Methodology is the technique, okay? Strategy, okay? I do like role playing because it's really active, okay? Really active, and it surprises you if you try. So let's try. You go to Gemini. You can add contents if you like, or simply, I have to teach these to these students. Okay, I need to know. Please create a role playing about these contents. The content I attach, or simply say Freud, say I don't know, the hierarchy, no, pyramid of food. Okay. I don't know, the role playing of okay, let's try. You understand you understood what I want you to do, to try to use Gemini in as a methodological designer. Good. Okay, did you get insights? Who wants to share? Who wants to share? Great. Yeah, why delegating? You are empowering your creativity. Yeah. Using a pencil, are you limiting your creativity, or are you unleashing your creativity? They are instruments, powerful instruments. I know what you mean. I mean, yeah, it is. There are so many questions. It's Nietzsche's dilemma. Are we still human? I use it. Yeah. Yeah, okay, you can ask. Don't tell me too much. Limitate your answer. Yeah, but stay focused on. That's why you are designer. You are the designer. Okay, you are not used by the instrument. You are using the instrument. So we are focused on preparing material. Now, at this moment, we are focusing on activating passive contents. Okay, through a methodological approach. Now, role playing. There are many. Okay, and so we are focused on this challenge. Stay focused on this challenge. Okay, yeah, I have to teach volcanoes. Okay, no, role playing volcano now. Okay, there are a different one now. I'm showing you a different approach. Okay, but some insights. Have you seen the results of role playing in history? Easy to use. Easy to see for me. In other subjects, any subject science.
Choose why gravity works, and it's actually quite good with the roleplay, but you have fair questions and empty answers. But then it describes the spirit everything. What did you change? Students maybe not get if you properly learn.
Okay.
Just tell them the law, that's it. Nice. You know,
Yes.
for them.
Yes.
And then it was for them. But in the role play, they see what you was arguing.
Okay.
Gemini sit down. And
Yeah.
what was the idea? That's maybe very interesting on side.
Yeah, you can use role playing like this as a mental experiments, like Galileo did, like Newton did. Okay, it's okay. But also, you need, as a scientist, you need to bring them to the lab. Okay, but you can ask Gemini to set an entire lab experience. I mean, on paper. Okay, on paper, for the moment. For the moment, because physics. But and for sure you use AI instruments to show experiments on digital experiments like, I don't know, physics. Size summary, no. The one to emulate. Can't remember. For to show a digital experiment. Test. Give me time. Some other findings in yes, of course you can.
I'm a teacher educator at the University of Dublin, so I work online. In my research, I use Canada, as you said, because it's very useful for the students reviews or any other research on this. But for the role playing, I use Gemini and advice. And it gave actually the scripted scenarios for the students, the roles to each student. So it was really impactful. I haven't tried it yet, feedback, so thank you very much for your
Okay, but applying it on what? Yeah, Gemini is the instrument, but the contents are?
how to start the differences between change. Please don't.
Okay, asking to understand. Okay, so now we go further. Okay, question: how can I automatize this approach? How can I make the most of having a didactical expert on beside me? Okay, helping me in creating teaching material, engaging teaching material. Once upon a time, there were experts, okay, and you have to ask, lift your phone, give me some hints, give me advices. You are the expert, you are the language teacher, very trained in. But nowadays, I can ask my smart slaves, so many, and always available. Okay, what if I frame their brain? They are slaves, smart slaves. Okay, if I use Gemini, the brain is like an ocean, open. But what if I train them in several pedagogical didactical methodologies? Follow me, because this is a really a smart step, not because of me, okay, but because of the approach. Okay, what if I manipulate, okay, the mind of the slave, which is Gemini or ChatGPT, whatever, okay, in a way that I have many slaves, many AI focused on several pedagogical approaches and methodologies. For instance, what if I train Gemini to think and prepare teaching materials in role-play materials, cooperative learning materials, task-based in language materials. Give me some other gamification. Challenge-based, or for science, 5E approach, the 5E. What if? Okay, and now we can do that. How? We go to Gemini. You can do it in ChatGPT, the GPTs. Okay, in Gemini, the gems. Okay, if you go on your left-hand side, you find gem. What are the gems? Exactly these. Slaves focused on a specific task, and you choose the task. And as a designer, I want to have a slave, the best expert on my side, to create a philosophical dilemma analysis and role playing, as I shown you before, or historical case analysis and role play. But if I am mathematical, why don't I shape a gem on mathematical didactical games? Or, of course, and I want you to do that now, but I'm showing you, like, these ones are the ones created by Gemini, by Google, okay? I've shown you the learning coach, okay? Which is a preset, okay? And for the primary school teacher, where is it? Primary school teacher, my colleague over there. Yeah, the gem, okay? The storybook gem, okay? This is a good. Have you seen it? You are a pioneer, okay? Now, hang on. Storybook, which it is a specific gem, specific Gemini applied to a specific narrow task, which is create a 10 slides storybook for little children, okay? So I want you to find your task, methodologically speaking, okay? Because it took many years to get experienced in a methodological approach. What does project-based learning mean? It took me 20 years to be trained and going throughout the world to see you. But now I can stay in my room. Okay, you travel and so on, but I can study by myself, and I can transform my job in a new way thanks to these. Okay, see what I created. So a reality task simulator, because I want real task scenarios. And I want a PBL, okay, a project-based learning creator. I want, okay, a personal coach, but that's for me. A multiple explanation slave. Give me for each concept I give you a multiple explanation, simple, very academic, for special need, and so on. And I just give him the concept, and then I get the 5 explanations I need. Okay? Or gamification escape room. I create escape room. What is the advantage of programming or processing these minds like this? Because I don't need to write down the prompts each time. And I got a very, very, very good prompt. Okay, so I want you to do now this. Okay, having in mind your didactical need or your didactical methodology, one you want to experiment. Okay, you want to try. Okay, for instance, gamification. Okay, for instance, give me once. An active, I mean active. The cooperative learning is a methodology made of many techniques. Okay, maybe jigsaw is a typical one. Okay, jigsaw, train it on. Oh, okay, cooperative learning, an expert in cooperative learning. You shape the mind of this fantastic slave. Okay, the ideal husband for you. Okay, and get the results just adding your content and saving time next time, because you've already programmed his mind. Okay, let me show you how to do it, and then you do it. Okay, so for my philosophical dilemma analysis that you have seen, okay, you go here to gem, you find, where is it here? What is this? You find new gem, you open new gem. I'm going to show you mine. Edit. Okay, you edit the gem. How is it? It's got a name. You choose your own name. Okay, game designer. Okay, I don't know. Ideal husband. I don't know. And you add a description. Okay. It is important according to your needs, as long as you want to be very specific. See, I didn't ask any description, but I was specific in instruction. These are very important, because these are the guidelines. Okay, how do I? This is prompting. Okay, you have to be prompted. How do I create a good prompt in it? A good prompt is the content, the command, the sequence, and so on. But now, why do I write all of this? I'm not an expert. Okay, so I create my prompt using what? Using the AI. Yeah. I go to Gemini, and I ask, okay, please help me in creating a prompt for gem. The gem is the specific, okay, focused on this didactical methodology. I want the prompt to be very clear in order to engage my student in a cooperative learning, okay, and see the prompt. Once you get it, you copy it, you put it inside the instruction, and then you enhance it also with this one twice. Okay, this one is enhancing and making it better. Okay, and that's it. You want to add the specific material to get the slave trained on what case analysis, what role playing is. Add it. No need. But you can add whatever you like. The more you add, the more data you add, the more training you offer to the slave. You understand? Because it is exactly how the machine learning works. Having data, having example. So please do it, and then once you do it, you update it, you go, and then you activate it. Philosophy dilemma. You activate it. See, it is empty now. So please give me a name of a philosopher. Plato, Platone, okay? Plato. But I can write Plato, but what if I give him a little bit of distraction? Okay, I want to talk about, I want to have a dilemma analysis or role playing about the concept of soul in Plato. Okay. Concept of soul in Plato. Okay, and that's it, because the prompt is already there. Okay, it's already there. Fast. It would be better reasoning, but fast. Let's see. Let's see. It takes a little bit of time. And then, okay. Ah, sorry, in Italian. Okay, anyway, the problematic situation. Because I asked him, give me a problem, a starting problem, and then some rows, the dilemma, the argument. I changed it in okay. So the chariot, which was a metaphor used by Plato, okay, and role playing, profile, object, because in my prompt I want to make the profile, the objective, and the behavior. See, so do it for yourself, okay? Can you do that for me? Choose. So first, choose the technique or methodology you like or you want to experiment, and then train these smart slave for you. I'm sorry, continue.
I think my question is, just from my experience, sometimes these tasks are not working. There's some
In the class or
no, there's a glitch in prompt design. There's, especially sometimes again there's some minor mistakes. But so far I have to say I never used Gemini. I have to check.
okay.
Even
But
in the pro
it's the same. Use the GPTs.
Yeah. So sometimes there are glitches. So from your experience,
Do you use the paid version?
of course you could.
Oh.
Otherwise, you would not get any results. So my question now is, we do normally go through the materials yourself first before you try it out in class, because what I've seen is sometimes there are some, as I said,
Yeah.
there are problems where
To come to the final version of the material I've created, it requires me a lot of time. And I've shown you before, okay, the hints I deliver to the students. These are not automatically, it requires some, of course, okay, adjustment, yes. I say to my colleagues, AI, it is not Wikipedia. It is a person, sorry, I'm saying that, and you have to discuss with that person. You have to have a dialogue, a conversation, and ask at least 3 times what you need, what you're looking for. At least three times, because otherwise you are, I don't know, you are asking too much, or you must be precise. You must be very how can we say? Yeah, straightforward. That is why, first of all, you have to be clear towards yourself. What do you really want? What do you really want? But what you want for now in this exercise is help me in preparing material methodologically shaped, methodologically elaborated. You manage? Which methodology? A debate, easy. Okay. Okay, it's easy. You run the risk to replace the debate, so that the machine replaces the debate instead of the children or students. So be very specific. I don't want you to do the debate. I want them to do the debate. Help them in phases.
Which is what the way to do it now.
Great.
I asked you to be a structure for the debate when I will be the subject body. That must be structured way. Not time and using business application from the next.
Okay, great. But you can also tune that. My suggestion is, okay, why don't you add a instruction like this? Create a debate as if my students were in a tribunal. So you give roles to the students, and role playing is always engaging for the students.
It's very important.
Good.
And I asked to keep the proposal quotation from the.
Okay, from your text. You have to check them,
Yes.
but most of the time are correct. Good. An example, very well done. Debate generator. Okay. So I usually use the debate at the end of my unity when they have received some contents and they have studied something. At the end, they are ready to debate. So as the final reckoning. Okay. Okay. Okay, to open their mind to questions. Okay. Okay. For the science teachers, why don't you train a smart slave on the methodology of 5E, the IBSE, inquiry-based science education, the IBSE approach? But my colleague knows it.
To get the spirit of the workshop, why don't we ask Gemini to help us define the
You got it perfectly.
right? So can I take what you told us, which I think is a really very good approach to start with? Ask Gemini to explain it for us.
Yes.
Then go into the gem, and then we take it.
Good, perfect. What is the 5E approach? I don't know anything about that. Let me understand. Okay, and then give me an example, and then once you got it, that's a great approach. I want to experiment each for all of my unities. Okay, and you need to automatize because you don't want to prompt again and again. Okay, I prepare a gem focused on the IBSE, inquiry-based science education approach, and please ask the gem to create the material for you, not only the sequence. But okay, you gave me the sequence. Now create what the handouts for the students. Create some material to study, additional material. Okay. Get the most of it, the most material you can get from the AI.
We got from different from
Notebook LM is to prepare the material to start. You can use what you prepare there to give instructions to the gem. Okay, maybe you want a gem, maybe you just want a gem well trained on a specific topic, which is okay, I understand. Okay, listen for a while. Your colleague is asking, what's the difference between Google Notebook and the Gem? Okay, the engine underneath is Gemini, is the same. But the big difference is Notebook is to store knowledge, to study, to elaborate, manipulate material for studying. Okay, Gem, it's an active and it's an elaborator according to what you want him to do. Okay, if you want to get contents and elaborate contents for your understanding or the student understanding, Notebook. If you want to make something of it, to elaborate for your didactical usage, create your Gem. Okay, Gem is much more focused on the process. Notebook gives you the content. You can combine them, create the contents, and then apply the contents to a specific process. The process is your methodology. What do you want your students to do? Ask yourself, I want my student to do this, to do a cooperative learning experience about, I don't know, the concept of psychology, psyche in Freud, as ego and superego. Okay, good.
At the end of the process again, I use peer report when I want to interact.
Yeah.
In addition, which is
Peer report is one of the instruments to activate in between the frontal explanation and the interactive presentation.
the question I made, and Shakespeare. And then I asked the board to give the orders, but I'm like, yes, from this debate, I literally gave me that I wanted. Said what you going to say, the final, what you really want, final.
The gem has to be empty of contents, because the gem is the process creator. Okay, you can if you create a good gem, that good gem can be applied on each content. Do you understand? So focus on the methodology. I want to gamify my contents, and I create a gem, gamificator gem. Okay, and then you apply that gem on Freud for me, World War II for you, Shakespeare. So do not create a gem focused on Shakespeare, on a content, because it's limiting. That is not the methodology. So it changes the focus. Do you understand what I mean? So up to now we were focused on content because it was the study part, the frontal part, but now we are shifting it. How do I activate that content? Create a gem to activate. Create 5 gems, one according to the Piaget approach. I don't know. One Montessori, I don't know. You understand? And how to having a Montessori beside me?
For example, so it's like
Oh, my question is, what is the methodology you teach the slave? You taught the slave.
Yes, because I
On.
started the debate.
Okay, the debate. Okay.
Yes, which needs to be done. And then from the debate on revenge. And then I asked, okay, and now I want to speak Greek. Must be the simple language for the headquarters,
Okay.
but with this topic, French. So,
Are you happy about that?
yes,
So
very much, yes.
but for your own life, creating a gem, you can create it for fun. Okay, you
Yes.
can create a gem for training your or for creating your daily, your weekly diet or your weekly training sessions. Okay, for me as a runner, I wanted to schedule. Okay, and it remembers what I've done before, so, and it guides me till the marathon. Okay, you understand what it is? You've got your trainer, your own trainer, so you can create the perfect lover. I don't know.
We have complete traits and yeah.
Yeah. What? No,
To create a person, then we gave the instruction from like we took it from the Gemini and paste it on the instruction.
and the name of it is
Story.
story.
My gem. It creates my gem.
If there is already one. Okay? Yeah. What do you want? What you want your students to do? What do you want them to do? What do you want?
So,
If I come to your lesson, I open the door, what do I see? Students are doing what?
they
Okay, text analysis.
yeah.
Okay. So you create a text analyzer.
Yes, yes.
So, yeah, I do like more activation, more,
I
but
think, you know,
it's an exercise as a. Okay. So it's your own creation. As long as it works for you, it's good.
yeah, because people thought, all right, how to.
You can also create a gem on. Yes, a test generator. You are trying. Okay, let me do it by myself, okay? If in Italian would be better, but be patient, okay? I open Gemini, okay? I opened a new chat, okay? I want to create a gem focused on cooperative learning techniques, didactical techniques, okay? Because I know for my 4 units, there is always a moment, a passage where I'm using sooner or later a cooperative learning techniques. Can be carousel, can be jigsaw, can be whatever. Typically cooperative learning techniques, because I do like them, because I want to, okay, they works for me and with my class, okay? So instead of asking each time, create something, changing the contents according to the unit, the 4 units, I shape my smart slave focused on didactical techniques, cooperative learning techniques, okay? So first of all, I have to create my own prompts to give instructions to the gem. So, okay. Please be kind, okay? Please. I'm a teacher and I need to create a gem focused on the didactical techniques, is it right? I don't know, of cooperative learning. You help me, okay? For fun, okay? Certainly, okay? Certainly, traduce in inglese. Absolutely, okay? Okay, fundamental elements. It reminds me what is cooperative learning, okay? Main teaching technique, GSO, think, pair, share, student team achievement. You see? How to structure your gem. Okay, this is how to do it. No. I want you to create the exact and best prompt to add to the instructions for creating a gem focused on cooperative learning. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I understood. Okay, this is the prompt. See, it's preparing my prompt. Okay. See, your pillars. It is preparing a prompt. Let's see. Okay. I copy this prompt. Okay. And I go to Gemini, to gem, see gem. I open a new gem, sorry, in English. Now I'm ready. I open a new gem, okay? The gem is cooperative learning expert, okay? It's a person, a living person. Treat him as a living person. Okay. Description, forget about for the moment. I paste my instructions. If you want, you can enhance them. Let's do it. And I can add later on when you some knowledge. How? Going to Gemini as well, to deep research and preparing 30 pages about what are the main techniques of, okay, or going online and so on. But this is very, very easy, okay, to understand what I mean. Very, very easy, okay? Then oh, good. Expert, okay? Let's see if it works. Okay, I don't know. Start the chat. Okay, now, tomorrow I have to teach, I don't know, give me a content. And okay, the idea of virtue in Aristotle, okay? He was a philosopher, okay? Okay, please give me 3 activities for my students of 15 years. Here is the space where to be specific, because I didn't say, because I want this mind to be open. Maybe for you, you are not teenagers, okay? But now I add, because I know my students, okay, for tomorrow. Activities for my students. Give me 3 activities based on cooperative learning techniques. This is not necessarily. It is not what I want. It is already there, but okay, too much. All right. Okay, and then you see, I should have jigsaw, great. Roll, think per share, learning together, suggest my phone. Okay, good. Please prepare some student material handout to guide the activities of my students using, I don't know, maybe I want think per share, okay? Think per share using technique 2, okay? So I want to refine, I want to go deeper. No, okay, great. Poi tu come giusto mezzo. Future as a second, please think 7 minutes, pair 10 minutes, and share. Okay, you see, I asked him to go deeper to give, and then again and again, please go deeper in the phase. Think, give me some more material, and then until I got to my lesson plan ready-made at the end of this process of dialoguing, of asking, but for the next time when I have to teach them Freud, okay, for instance, I don't have to through cooperative learning technique. I just, all right, okay, now do it for Freud concept of psyche, okay? Understood? I changed the contents, but the approach, the way he thinks is the same. So you are really processing a new brain. You are like gods. Yes, we are. So no more educational prompt designers, but Frankensteins. So I want you to be more Frankenstein. Understood now? So imagine a future when you are planning your lesson and you've got your 5 helpers, well trained, because I can go on and on and on and on. He learns what I want from him. Okay, and I can change the mind. Okay, I can go back. See, go back. Okay, cooperative learning expert. I want to change his mind to be more specific and so on. Okay, and I go there and I change. And I want to add material. Yes, add material. It was empty. I want to add material now. Okay. But I have my Montessori, my cooperative learner helper. I've got my methodological helpers, which is fantastic. Why? To transform a passive content into an active one. So that to automatize your designing learning process, designing teaching process. Try. Dare to be Frankenstein. Right. So we have 20 minutes till the end of the journey, okay? So as we said, the last effort is about testing and evaluating, the third dimension, main dimension of our work, okay? Up to now, have you seen what the process is about, okay? The last effort was about creating a gem, but what you have to bear in mind is a gem is a Gemini trained on a specific function that I want him to do for me. Okay. In the last dimension, last session, which is focused on testing, for instance, I could create a gem as a quiz maker. The function is creating a quiz, okay? And then I can apply that gem on whatever content I want, okay? A science, a philosophical, but the outcomes are quizzes. Understood? Okay, so now we are focusing on testing. For the last effort, let me show you. Okay, that's okay. What is it? Okay, I want directly to the exercise. Okay, first, I use Google Notebook to create my assessment material because it's already there. It's my handbook, my storage knowledge. You remember? And also I use 2 more instruments open. But now go back to Notebook. I go back to Notebook. You remember the story, the Cold War history with some sources in English and so on. Okay, in Arabic, whatever. Okay, here is the chat and whatever. Here is the main right-hand side with what I've produced, okay? And now I use these preset instruments, some quiz and flashcard, okay? So I do select, for instance, give me mastery, guerra, usa pepe, Cold War. This is a very long Cambridge handbook, you see, more than 200 pages, okay? And a very reliable source. It is Cambridge, okay, about Cold War. So I select only these, okay, only these, where is it? Only these, and then I go to quiz, okay, sorry, in English, quiz, okay, less or more, and easy, medium, let's say medium, okay? I can add some instructions. I don't add anything for the moment. I generate a quiz on that research. That's it. I can do the same with the text I've created on my e-learning platform. And that's exactly what I do. Okay, so I control the quiz. Because it's on my own produced material. Okay, so see, it takes a few time, But meanwhile, I go to flashcard. What are the flashcards? You know, you can use it at the end of a unit. Okay, guys, please pay attention now. Okay, in 4 groups. What was it? Sorry. What was the name of the recovery plan? What? Go. Ah, okay, ready made. Okay, sorry. Now it's too late. Okay, it was. Teacher, it was a live weekly fund. You stupid. Okay. Okay, sorry. Okay, and again, in an interactive way. The last 10 minutes of the lesson, I use it like that. Or the quiz. Okay, the quiz. Let's see, Cold War quiz. This one is, I used it. Okay, about one source. Okay, about one source. Cold War. I open it. Okay. What was the event of? And then the end of Second War friend. Okay. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. And then you can. This is not Kahoot. Has got not the points and so on, but you can use it like that. You can. But the advantage is it is based on my material. It is based on what it is predictable. Predictable. Okay. And then you can create also infographics, mind maps, and so on. So, of course, I got it from one of my colleagues who teaches in an international baccalaureate course. EIB Guides History, you find it. But the advantage is I can have, starting from an English source, I can get a quiz in Italian or in Pashtuni, I don't know. Okay, so again, this is first resource notebook. Okay, and then there are my favorites. I show you my favorites. Wayground is a good, very good free resource. Wayground, formerly quizzes. Okay, it works like this. Okay. You can select a page and directly on that page, if you have got the extension here, Wayground, it creates a quiz based on this specific page. Very quick, okay? Or you can add your material to the platform and then get, as I did here, and then get the quiz, okay? Which is an interactive quiz. Use this activity. Ok, sono dal vivo. Ok, I have to log in, sorry. Come on. Please, students, grab your phone. Come to my platform, please. Last 5 minutes quiz, okay? Like this in the class, at the end of the lesson. Okay, very quick. Okay? You can do it now if you want. At least one, 2, please. Don't be like my students. Definitely. Easy. Okay, that's enough. Okay? Come on. Okay, write something stupid. So I free you. Okay, write something stupid, please. Okay, and then see the time, see the people participating, and so on. Okay, I can show you answer. Okay. Oh, what is it? Where? Where? Left? Blah blah blah. Very smart. Thank you. Oh yes. Sorry. You can hide because of privacy, because of so on. Okay, and then you can make it much more competitive because. Okay. All right. You see the options and so on. This is much more Kahoot similar. Okay. So you can set the time. You can change everything. Okay. but in 5 minutes, starting from your page or your content, you create a quiz, interactive quiz. Interactive quiz. You got it? So, you see, and at the end, you've got the winner, and the Oscar goes to. And okay, there is a moment you can praise the winner and so on. It's funny. It's funny. Okay, and brisk teaching. Okay, in 8 minutes, no way to see the way brisk teaching works, but it's really worth trying if you are a teacher, because has got so many little smart, feasible instruments. Okay, interactive instruments. You choose the instrument, your students grabbing their phone interact. I'm gonna give you an example. Test the learning. Okay, wait. Okay, this is the text to study for my student about decolonization. Okay, I've got this brisk teaching extension. I can activate it. See the logo here. I can activate it on sign in on this very content on the screen. Okay, on the screen, and you can choose many instruments. Okay, activating. If I click, it gives you creating something, giving feedback, boosting student activities. For instance, I want to boost activity on this particular content on the screen. Okay, boosting activity, creating a document. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, and it is creating something, and you can unhook an inquiry, a brainstorming, a maths based on real world processes, a text, and so on in real time. You see the advantage. And see if I see the better. Okay, this was an example of one of my exercise. I want them to have a silent debate on their screen on the political ideologies I mentioned before, at the end of the unity about power and politics and so on. And see my students, and I see the progresses of them in their debate with the machine. This is a debate between one of my students and the machine, and they are developing a debate one by one in a silent way. So for 5 minutes, I can sit down. Okay. See, what is the polish? Okay, it is debate. Wait. A dialogue. Okay. Okay. You can see. And
It's about something just like saying nonsense things to the machine. The learning objectives is increasing as well, or it's evaluated? How the learning objectives?
if you say bad words, gives you a red card. But what do you think? What do you mean with bad words? I don't know.
English.
You start talking about the soccer game of yesterday instead of making the discussion that they are supposed to do.
Try it.
I was
No, try. The only way to control it is, it is reliable to an extent.
okay.
To an extent, it does. Yes, very much, because in 10 minutes at the end of a unit, I make them reflect and I can control them, okay? In doing these, I can check, okay, Nina, what are you doing here?
Yeah, why?
You are stuck, okay?
Right.
Ok. Sì, ho sbagliato, via, scusami tanto, va bene. There is nothing, it's empty, okay? It's empty, so you can, Nina, please, stay focused, okay? It's a real-time activity on their phone, okay? Which was impossible before. For 10 minutes, I can let them discuss with the machine on a topic. But the topic is the one shown on the screen where I activate my brief teaching. Remember, it's the content I've created. So very, very powerful. It is used in United States very much, brisk teaching. Because it's quick and interactive. But you know, once you give them the cell phone, it's a danger. That's why I use it at the end of the lesson to close it up. But that's you, no? That's you as a design, as a teacher. The choice is you've got the upper hand, we hope. Sorry? Not really. I intervene by voice because they don't know. But I can follow them, and that's an advantage. But this is one of the options debate. But you have many. Okay, go in brisk teaching and try. But the application is not the application. The example is use brisk teaching as a extension, activating it on something you are showing on the screen. Okay, can be a Wikipedia page, can be a website, or can be your own text, and then you want them to do something in real time. So you activate and you choose the activity, and then you go. Okay, for I don't know. To me, no more than 10 minutes. Okay, but you can let them debate, you discuss, having a quiz and so on. There are many. Giving feedback also, yes. I don't really use it so much, but you use it. Are you happy with it? Yeah, it is usable because before AI, how could you give them feedback instantly to all of them in a differentiated way? No way. But now you can. Now you can. But try it. It's even funny. It's even funny. Okay, so let me recap. Let me what? Let me remind you what we've done. Okay, starting from provocation. Okay, in the age of AI, a man can win a Nobel Prize without being expert in a field. That's astonishing. Okay, so what do I do for my job? How do I leverage and I'm teaching philosophy, so I have to think about it. Okay, starting from that, let's split our job in 3 dimensions and make the most of AI in each of them, in designing, in creating material, and in testing. And there are so many instruments, but most of the time I use the Google Suite because it is feasible, it is well-rounded. Can I say well-rounded? Okay. Designing a lesson using Gemini to study, to creating my handouts, my material, to train myself on the content, because history is so huge, so vast. And second step, planning my lesson using Classroom and asking Gemini to help me in lesson planning, storing my knowledge in notebook. Okay. How do I make the most of AI in my teaching material creation? Yeah, I do create now frontal teaching material through AI using Gemini or Perplexity and so on. There are so many to prepare the contents, and then slides, interactive slides, and then to create something much more active according to the methodology I want to follow. But I have to be clear on that methodology. Okay. We mentioned role playing. There are so many. And you have to try to get the most. Okay. And once you get a clear idea about what methodology you want to use for that, why don't you set an entire brain to help you on that methodology, in order not to repeat and repeat and repeat the same. The function is there, the content can change. Okay. And finally, we use AI nowadays to facilitate our preparation of our testing material, as I showed you before. And this is the most used way to use AI. So in designing, in customizing, and in testing, but keeping ourselves as a educational prompt designer along all the process, because I want to be at the beginning and at the end of the usage of AI. And then I let the machine work for me. But the input and the output has to be in my hands. I hope you will do the same, and you'll be the new Frankenstein teacher. So, okay. Thank you. Good luck and enjoy the lunch.